why you shouldn't fear making mistakes. When I was studying Japanese at university in Japan, I met a girl who was studying English. She planned to go to England as an exchange student later that year. I talked to her after she got back to Japan again and asked her how her exchange went. She told me that while it was fun, she didn't really dare to speak much English. While being an exchange student can be a lot of fun, the main reason many people choose to partake in a language exchange program is to learn a language. It's a shame when the fear of making mistakes prevents you from learning. This fear of failing is unfortunately quite prevalent in Japan, and many people have issues learning a foreign language because of it. It's not everyone, of course, as you can find a lot of Japanese people who have become very good at speaking foreign languages.
チャンネル登録とグッドボタンよろしくお願いします。
There was another Japanese student I overheard in my home country who also had this issue. He apparently was too shy to talk in class, but he would practice speaking out loud in his apartment, and this made him good enough to pass his oral exam. The reason why this happens to so many Japanese people is probably caused by the pressures of the education system. The approach of trying not to make mistakes might work with many subjects, but not so much with language learning. The problem is that learning a language is such a huge task that you can't really master it without making mistakes. In fact, making mistakes and having them corrected is the best way to make rapid progress, as you get the feedback necessary to improve. If you don't fear making mistakes, then you will not be held back by this. You will do a lot more testing and therefore get a lot more feedback. No one who starts out learning a language will be good at it. That's why you need to go through a period of quote-unquote sucking before you can claim to be good.
今日夕方には専門家が今日夕方には法科大学院の今日夕方には法科
While there's no reason to get stuck in this stage and not try to improve, don't let fear become something that prevents you from doing what you can. Starting to speak is especially difficult for some people, as it involves face-to-face interaction with other people. If you are overly concerned with how people view you, then you might have some reservations about it. This seems to be highly individual, as some people have no problems trying to communicate, even if they can't express themselves correctly in a new language. There's no need to force yourself to start speaking soon if you really hate it though. Proceed at your own pace, but don't let fear hold you back. You need to take the step eventually. If you have trouble, you could ease into it like the Japanese guy I overheard. You can practice speaking by yourself, for example. If you're feeling a bit braver, you can record yourself and listen back as well. You can also start speaking by asking for directions, what the price of things are at a store, etc., or simple things like that. The point is to start at the level that you can overcome. That way you can gradually build up courage and lessen the fear of making mistakes. Make each step manageable, and you can gradually reduce the fear of failing. People who learn fast are usually those who have gone through the process several times and know that there will be a time where you suck at things regardless of what you try to learn. The quicker you can internalize this, the quicker you will progress. This isn't limited to learning a language either. Learning to accept being unskilled at something is an important part of improving. One thing I've heard from Jujutsu practitioners is that they sometimes get a star athlete to start training, but that many of them quit early on because they can't handle losing.
It doesn't matter! Oh, it doesn't matter!
Their ego is so tied up in winning that they can't venture into anything new where they risk losing. The thing is that many things are so specialized that there's really no way around it. While a judo practitioner or a wrestler can do pretty well in Jujutsu from the get-go, even a veteran boxer or a karate practitioner will have no chance, as their art isn't really applicable to Jujutsu, even though they're still martial arts.
It's bangsa! It's bangsa!
I thought of this topic when I started to make these videos. If you haven't tried it yourself, you probably don't know how much goes into making them. and how many skills are involved. Recording yourself speaking, for example, is very different than just speaking normally. This is also a skill that must be learned. This is one particular aspect that I'm not really good at yet. But practicing is really the only way to get better. But there are two potential approaches to take. One would be the perfectionist route, where I just continue practicing until I reach a level I'm comfortable at. The other is to just create the videos even though my skills aren't where I want them to be, and getting better that way. The second way is a lot better in my opinion, and the reason why I'm doing this. There are so many things involved that I wouldn't even know was an issue until I encountered them. It's the same thing with learning Japanese, which is why I recommend that you don't let fear of failure limit what you try to do. Instead, embrace the fact that you make mistakes and only focus on getting better.
このジョルノ・ジョバーナには夢がある。
Never give up!